Hello, this is Tina Rappe. Thanks for joining me in my Stampin' studio. So this is the card we're going to be making today, and it features the Springtime Foils Designer Series paper, and I'm going to show you a way to kind of kick it up a notch. There's also something very unique about this card in that it has a fold of the butterfly that pops up from the back. So I'm going to show you how to do that as well. My friend Terry Gaines came up with this idea, and I just thought it was so cool, so I wanted to show you this. But first, let's start out with the Designer Series paper. So I have cut a piece, and this is 4 inches by 5 1/4, and I am going to use the Tranquil Tide Stampin' Write marker, and I'm using the brush tip end. And what I'm going to do is I am just going to start coloring in the leaves, and nothing about this needs to be exact at all. Just adding some color to it. And I have found that this works best if I do maybe 1/3 to 1/2 of the paper at a time. So let me just finish coloring in a little bit of this. And you can see I am not being exact about anything here. Doesn't matter if you stay inside the lines or if you're outside the lines or what have you. Okay, so right there I've got about half of it colored in. And then I'm going to use a baby wipe, just a regular baby wipe. And here's where the magic happens. I'm going to rub this across, and what happens is the marker comes off where I've colored it, but it kind of stains the rest of it. So Tranquil Tide turns into Pool Party quite easily. So let me go ahead and I'm going to just finish coloring the rest of this in. And obviously you could do this with any colors you want, but I kind of came upon this as a happy mistake. I thought I'll color these in, and then I realized that the ink was just kind of sitting on the top of the paper, and I thought, well, can I just wipe it off? And as I was wiping it off, I'm going, oh my gosh, that's Pool Party now. And so I just went from there. Okay, so here we go. We have the rest of this colored in. And let me get my baby wipe back out. Find a nice dry spot on here. I'm going to get one more out just so that I can get the ink off my fingers and off of the card itself. Okay, so there we go. So you can see how that's colored, and actually it kind of has an ombre effect where it's lighter here and it gets darker over there. Now we're going to go ahead and use this to make the card itself. So for the card base, I have cut this 4 1/4 by 11 inches, and I've scored it in half. So let me set that aside. I'm going to fold this and get my bone folder out to give it a nice crisp fold. Now, before I stick this on here, I want to attach my ribbon to it. So I have some of the Pool Party Shimmer ribbon. And so with this, I'm just going to flip this over and put some adhesive on there, and I've got this wrapped on. And then I'm going to take another tiny little piece of the ribbon, tuck it under here, and tie this in a knot. Okay, so then I'm good to go with this. I'm going to go ahead and put adhesive all over the back of it, and we're going to attach it to the card base. Just like that. Next, I'm going to use the classic label punch. And with this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to open the card up. And then I'm going to insert this in here all the way. You see how I can't, it won't go any further. And I'm going to punch it once. And then I'm just going to slide it down. Again, it's inserted as far as it can. And I'm going to punch so that that's a little bit longer. Okay, so we have like this. Now I'm going to set this aside for a minute, and what I have done is I used some Pool Party cardstock, and I have cut out 2 of the butterflies from the Bull Butterfly Framelit. Okay, so that's this. I cut out 2 of them and I scored it right down the middle, and now I'm going to go ahead and fold them in half. right on the score lines. All right, and I'm going to set that aside. And then next I have a piece of silver foil cardstock, and I've just cut this the size that the butterfly will fit on. But before I go ahead and cut this out, I want to use a piece of our adhesive sheets, and I'm going to attach it to the back side of this gold foil. So I'm just going to pull off the backing and stick this right on here. Once I run it through the Big Shot with the die, it's going to end up being sticky on the back side. So this time I'm using the Butterflies Thinlit. So this detailed butterfly fits this exactly. So bold butterfly framelit and butterflies framelit. So I'm going to run that through the Big Shot, and then what I end up with is this. I have also scored this down the middle, and on the back side here is the adhesive sheet. So as I peel this off, this is super duper sticky. So before I actually peel it off, I want to fold this on the score line. It's a little bit tougher with the foil paper because it's thicker, and of course it has this backing on it, but we're going to get this. There we go. So I'm just going to kind of pinch it where it's at. There we go. And then get my bone folder out. Okay, so we have a foil butterfly and we have two solid butterflies. Now what I'm going to do is peel this backing off. And as I said, this is super sticky. You can see that. And what I'm going to do, I'm not going to stick the whole butterfly on here. I'm going to fold this in half, and I am going to attach half of the butterfly like that, and I'm going to take the other butterfly and I'm going to attach half of it there. Okay, so now on the front you've got this, and on the back you've got two halves, so it's kind of like an X. All right, and then the next thing is going to be to put it in the card. So this is going to, if we fold it up this way and tuck this in here, let me just show you. This is the reason that we needed to make this a little bit longer, so that the butterfly wings will fit through there. Okay, so it's going to go like this. But before we actually put it in there, I am going to get out some tear and tape and just bring it right across both of those pieces to kind of help hold that together. And then another one here and here. Okay, because in order to open the card and everything, you kind of have to tug on things a little bit. That's why I wanted something super, super secure, like the tear and tape on here. And now I'm just going to pull off the backing. Yeah, this is not easy to do with short little nubby fingernails like I've got. So I'm going to use my piercing tool to lift this. Well, there we go. Persistence, right? Okay, so now this is super sticky. And this doesn't have anything on it here at all. And so, let's get my card back over here. I'm going to bring that through so it's sitting there. Now if I show you on the reverse side, this is where it's sticky, okay? I'm going to look to get the butterfly pretty much centered in there and kind of paying attention to where the height of the wings are and that the wing is not extending over the side of the card. So I'm looking at it about right there, and it looks like with ease that butterfly should clear. So then I'm just going to set this down. And again, this is where it's all sticky. I'm going to close this. This is the back side of the card now. Now I'm going to flip it over, and here we have the butterfly wings that open, and there we have the card. There's just one last thing to finish this off, and this is the Watercolor Wings stamp set, and I'm just using the tiny little antennas from here to finish off the butterfly. And I have some Smoky Slate ink. We'll get that inked up here and then put that right on top of him, just like that. And so again, to close it up, there we go. Isn't that really neat and elegant? And I love the fact that we have the ombre effect on the Springtime Foils Designer Series paper. I hope you enjoyed your visit today, and I'd love to have you come back another time. Thanks, and happy stampin'.